Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Toad Talk Podcast. Glad you're back after our amazing first episode, our pilot episode we have. Now, there's a few things I'd like to go into real quick before we jump into our show. We've got a new guest for episode 2. We've got Nate. We'll be jumping in. You'll be hearing from him in just a few moments. Instead of Raji, who's feeling a little bit under the weather and couldn't join us for episode 2 here, but we're going to keep this ship a-sailing one way or another. We really appreciate everyone who is listening through YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you, everybody, so much for the support, and we really appreciate the feedback that you guys have given us from our first episode. Hopefully we can keep this going, and obviously we know what to do and what not to do. We're going to try our best to do that to the best of our abilities moving forward, since we're all kind of somewhat new at the whole podcast thing, but we're going to definitely work to try to be a little bit better in future episodes and get to where we all feel like we're doing a great job for all of you listeners out there. But let's go ahead and bring in our panel for this week. We've got Zazarus coming in again, joining me for episode 2. How's it going, Zazarus?
Oh, pretty good, Croaky. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, other than the fact that there's tornadoes completely swarming the state of Oklahoma right now as we record this.
Yeah, kind of scary.
Yep. And just to think we're just a few days away from the 1-year anniversary of It's Here. Oh, it's here.
Yeah. He's celebrating a little early, it sounds like.
Yeah. If I get blown away and this podcast gets disconnected, then we'll know what happened to me, at least.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. And then we're going to bring in our special guest, the aforementioned Nathan Moore. Nope, it's Nate coming in to replace Raji this week due to his illness. How's it going, Nate?
Hello there, adventure. I'm just kidding. It's good. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Glad to have you on board.
Yeah, hopefully you're safe in the bunker.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, if you can call it that. Well, hopefully we can just get through this podcast as quickly as possible, and then I'll be able to run to the nearest shelter from that point. Well, we got to get this podcast cranked out and pumped out real quick before any tornadoes drop on me. All right, but with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into our BYON segment of the week. This is your Bring Your Own News segment. We always want to try to start off the podcast with this segment. I'm going to bring to the table for this week WWE 2K26. I've been jumping onto that for 2 streams now. We had a really great and eventful stream last night on my Twitch channel, starting to create people in the Croakitoad Pro Wrestling universe. Check out some of the new matches, the game modes, the things that the game has to offer. I did run across a couple of bugs, one involving Create an Arena, which is always seems to be kind of a disaster. And then the other one involving custom signs, crowd signs. But outside of that, the game, I did crash twice on the Xbox Series X version, which is the version I'm playing. But overall, I'd have to say it's basically just like last year's game. And then obviously all the massive and rapid improvements they've had with 200 call slots and just some of the new clothing and cosmetic stuff that they have added. I'm having a good time with it. We'll see where it goes. Everyone seems to be real excited to see with the creation for the new season of CPW. And as soon as we're done wrapping up this podcast, I'm going to apparently, instead of doing an actual CPW show, we're going to jump into another edit stream. So that was my brief synopsis. I know it went a little long, but moving over, let's pass it over to Grem, aka Zazarus. What do you got for us this week for Bring Your Own News?
I'm going to go in the sports world just a little bit. I know baseball has its spring training, but the World Baseball Classic is still going on. As of right now, the Team USA is 3-0, so they haven't lost a game yet. And then as we're recording the stream or podcast, whichever, USA will be taking on Italy tonight in about an hour, actually. So we'll see if, US can kind of do a run here. Japan is still looking pretty strong. Italy was one of those surprise teams. Obviously, the Dominican Republic is really good. Venezuela is also doing really good, and of course, Puerto Rico. So, if you're wanting to watch some baseball and you want to, show some support for USA, they have a big game tonight.
Nice. All right, let's pass it on over to our first time guest here on episode 2 of Toad Talk. Nate, what have you got? What do you want to bring to the table this week?
Well, bringing something different. I'm going the music route because it was just announced this week that Twisted Sister's doing their 50th anniversary shows, right?
Mhm.
So D. Snyder can't do it because of back and neck issues, but he actually gave good faith and reviews to have Sebastian Bach of Skid Row be the lead singer for it. And it was announced this week, and they're going to be doing it this fall.
Nice. How is the overall reception to that? Are people pretty much welcoming to that, or?
A lot of people are very receptive to it because Sebastian Bach can actually hold his own singing like D. Snyder. Because if you've actually listened on a Twisted Sister tribute album, he did a version of You Can't Stop Rock and Roll, and it actually sounds pretty darn good.
Nice, nice. Well, all of our old, I hate to say old, but 70s and 80s rock stars are getting up there in age now, so they got to figure out some way to keep the thing going. Like, what was it? Foreigner found the brand new. Was it Foreigner or Journey? No, it was Journey, wasn't it? Found the
Foreigner
younger.
found a new singer. Journey found a new singer for their farewell tour,
Yeah, there you go.
and I
Yep.
think something else. I'm trying to remember.
They got
REO Speedwagon, same thing.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, that's really cool. I was totally unsuspecting that you were going to bring music to the. That's actually the first time we've kind of covered music so far on the podcast. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. All right. Well, that's our news for this week. We're going to jump right into our gaming. We have 2 games we're going to cover for episode 2. We got Pokémon Pokopia, which was a hugely and highly recommended game that they wanted you listeners, not you wanted us to give our thoughts on. So we'll play the trailer real quick and give our thoughts and see what we think.
This land is just waiting to be shaped by a Ditto that looks like a human? And what's that in the grass? Oh, that's Bulbasaur, a grass-type Pokemon. What's this? Looks like Ditto's got an idea. By learning this move, you can make grass grow. Squirtle's water gun will keep it all healthy. As nature flourishes, so do the Pokemon. Collect rocks and wood to build with. Till the fields and grow delicious crops. Build homes for the Pokemon you meet. There's so much to do here. No need to rush, though. Go at your own pace, and you'll have a wonderful space before you know it. Pokémon Pokopia.
Pokemon Pokopia. That looks so cozy. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. I always have been. And this really makes me want to get a Nintendo Switch 2. I've said it at the days after this game has come out. And everyone that seems to have been playing this really enjoys this. It's got obviously that Animal Crossing kind of aesthetic to it where you build your own town and village and adopt the abilities of the Pokemon that you come across. And the main character is actually a Ditto. How cool is that? You're not actually a human main character. You are actually a Ditto in disguise as a human, and you're just going around just playing a Pokemon game in an Animal Crossing game, and maybe a little tiny bit of Minecraft there. So, man, this looks awesome. I want to get a Nintendo Switch 2 for this game and a lot of other games that I really love that are out on it right now for the console. Grim, what do you think? What do you think about Pokemon Pokopia? I know Ash has been playing it. What are your thoughts?
I mean, you pretty much hit everything. Like, it is a very cozy game. I mean, it tells you to take your time with it as well. You know, and again, Animal Crossing, little Minecraft, where you're creating stuff and building and growing. So yeah, I mean, it hits all the you know, the best things, basically. Like you said, like Animal Crossing has a huge following, Pokemon obviously a huge following, so it just makes sense. The cool part too is that, you know, when you're playing through it and you meet up with a Pokemon or something, you can actually hear what they're saying instead of like Bulbasaur or something like that. You know, you're actually seeing the dialogue, which is kind of crazy, because I guess that would be the only way you could really do that with it being Ditto and, you know, looking like a human. So I guess the Pokemon don't really see that as like confusing. It just, maybe they just think that it's either a Pokemon like a human, like a Ditto, or it's actually a human that understands Pokemon. But I think that's kind of neat too. It kind of gives another you know, avenue, because with Pokemon games too, you have like different things, like, you know, it's timid or it's brave or things like that. So if they added that little element to this game, which I don't know yet if they did or not, but it kind of also gives you that potential, like, hey, you know, this Bulbasaur is brave and you can tell by how he's talking.
Absolutely, yeah. I love all those little intricacies that they added to it. I'm looking at the main banner here. Back when it was first, one of the first times it was talked about, Nintendo Direct, September 12th, 2025, long time ago. But I love the little reference to the Snorlax just blocking the path, sleeping. Really awesome.
Yeah, that's a nice callback.
Nate, what do you think? I know you're the biggest Pokemon player and fan that we know in this community. What are your thoughts on Pokemon Pokopia?
Oh yeah, I'm the biggest Pokemon player. Honestly, I think it's one of those nice, relaxing games. You know, you'd probably get sucked into for hours of enjoyment. I mean, like, that's a game like my wife would definitely be playing. So I think maybe if I get her a Switch too, I think that's the first game she's probably going to end up getting, because she loves Animal Crossing. So that's right up her alley.
Yeah, I could totally see Maggie playing this. This definitely screams a Maggie type game. But yeah, I'm super excited to try this out for myself once I finally get a Switch 2. I can't wait to try it. And plus, there's like the multiplayer function where I guess you can team up with 3 to 4. I think it's 2 to 3 other players online and go about your business doing stuff on there too. So that's really cool. All right, well, that's Pokemon Pokopia. 2 thumbs up for me as a preview for those of you listeners out there that recommended this to us to cover on episode 2 of Toad Talk. Definitely looking forward to trying it out. We have one more game we're going to talk about on episode 2 here. This one's a kind of a more funnier game. But I saw this and I was like, yeah, we have to talk about this in some regards. So here we go. Our final game for this week's podcast. This one's called Karen.
Sorry, we're all out of half and half.
You can only do an exchange.
No, breadsticks are extra.
I'm sorry, ma'am. That's our policy.
And that's Karen, coming, a 3D action beat 'em up sandbox game developed by Sauce Studios, coming to PC, Steam soon. And the beginning part of the trailer just says it all. It is rated E for entitled. That's in the game trailer itself. 3D action beat 'em up. Your Karen is very, very angry and goes around destroying all the businesses in the mall. This looks like a lot of fun. If you like Goat Simulator-esque kind of games, this might be right up your alley. I just the name of it is pretty funny. I can definitely see this game being something that you can just like sit down and just wreak a bunch of havoc on. It obviously takes the whole Karen meme to a whole new level, putting it into a video game like this. This is a funny one. What do you guys think, Graham? What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, yeah, I feel bad for anyone named Karen because, like, honestly, I've worked with a Karen. I've met Karens before. They're like they're the people that are named Karen. Let's put it that way. But I've also dealt with people that are nicknamed this as well. But yeah, the gameplay, excuse me, and controls look very fluid. A lot of just like knocking things out of the way, destroying walls, flooding, things like that. All the destruction that you can probably think of someone who's literally crashing out because of one little like thing that just sets them off, you know, whether like you heard in the trailer, like, oh, we're out of half and half or something, or something ridiculous like that. Very funny. Like you said, about time that this game kind of has surfaced because of the meme and everything. So, but yeah, it looks fun.
By the way, real quick, in the trailer, she actually busts through a wall that has the traditional live, laugh, love sign on it.
Yeah, I did see that, and I was like, yeah, that's typical. That they probably have that sign of their home, and they act just like that.
All right, Nate, what are you thinking? Have you is this game on your radar at all? Do you want to?
Yeah, this one's a definite all-in for me because this game just screams fun. Because I love making fun of Karens and I love making fun of people that act like they're entitled. So this is perfect.
So you get to play as one and wreak even more havoc as one.
Yeah, even better.
All right. Well, like I said, I saw this on the upcoming games list and I was like, no, they're not making a game that's about this. And sure enough, they are. And there it is, Karen.
I just hope that they have a multiplayer mode for that one, though. That would be even better.
That would be interesting to see if they add a multiplayer mode. I don't see anything in the description right now, but coming soon to PC Steam. Keep your eyes out for it. Wishlist it. Karen coming soon. Maybe a multiplayer where there's 2 Karens, maybe 4 Karens that didn't get their coffee the way they wanted it. All right, well, that'll wrap up our gaming roundup for this week. We're going to move over to movies where we have one movie we're going to talk about. It's if it's in the comedy genre of movies, there's only one movie people are talking about right now. It's the epic return of one of the greatest franchises in comedy that has ever come out. I've seen this trailer already. I'm super stoked for this. There's a bit of controversy, which I'll touch into just a tiny bit because that's not what this podcast is about. But there's a little bit of controversy on this. But otherwise, I think this looks great. And we're going to play it right here and take a look.
Shit. My God, he stabbed her! Not her! My pronouns are they, them. He stabbed them!
We back.
There's a serial killer on the loose.
Hello, Tuesday.
I had been preparing for this for years.
Hello, Mother. You look like shit.
Should we hug? I really want to, but I'm a Republican now, so I'm supposed to be racist.
Oh, girl, I think all white people are racist anyway. Come here.
Okay. Oh.
This looks like a job for me.
Hey there. We heard tell of a Halloween party. We're here to drink, play bad music, do some half gay shit.
Hey.
Why just half gay?
Sink.
eating my falafel and my pork rinds. Bitch.
Well, they're back. They are back. Scary Movie is coming June 5th. They've tackled pretty much all the horror tropes that you could think of in recent memory. Oh my God, I saw so many movies that they have decided to tackle. It looks like a lot of the cast from some of the original movies are back. I love the Take My Strong Hand Child. That guy's even back. They got they're knocking Smile 2. I saw The Substance in there. I'm even seeing a little bit of The Strangers with the 3 people on the front porch. Why only half gay? But there's a little bit of a controversy to this, and that's with the whole pronouns thing that we saw, where the lady's like he's stabbing her, and she says, "Well, I'm they them," and so some people on the internet are getting a little fussy about that. But you know what? The Scary Movie has never cared ever since the original. They poke fun at everybody. If you don't want to see it because of that, you don't have to. But I think it's time for everyone to just enjoy a movie and laugh and get a laugh. Everyone deserves a laugh. Laughter is the best medicine, and Scary Movie definitely knows how to do it. They tackle everybody from all sides of the board. You heard the Republican thing in the trailer as well. So it's not like they're targeting one side or the other. They're just going after everybody. And God forbid you're a horror movie that's come out in the past 10 years or whatever, because you are going to get knocked in this. I definitely want to go see this. I want to have some laughs. And well, I'm a huge horror movie fan anyway. So this is great, and I can't wait. What do you think, Grem, on Scary Movie 6?
Yeah, I mean, it looks very funny. I don't know why I never really made this connection. I'm sure it has been connected, but this reminds me of just like how Spaceballs was when it came out, tackling a lot of the space movies that were out, like Alien and Star Trek, Star Wars, things of that nature. And yeah, you're right. Any horror movie that has come out recently, look out. You're probably, except for the movie Nope. I imagine that's probably not in here at all.
You know what? You say that, but I wouldn't be surprised if like halfway in the movie they have like a floating toilet or something just floating in the air.
And they just say nope, and then that's it.
It's just like nope written on the toilet, and it's just like floating there.
But no, I mean, you're right. Like it's just for fun. If it's not your jam, or you don't feel like you want to go see it, don't go see it. I mean, but if you definitely want to have a good laugh, it does sound like you said, they're going to hit all angles. No one could be safe, really. So either just sit back and relax, or if you think it's going to offend you, it might not be the movie for you.
And you know what? I just thought of something. Around this time, I'll be back out your way too. Maybe I think a week or two after this. So
guess who's back?
Guess who's back? We might have to go check this out all at the theater when I'm out your ways.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun, actually. I would like that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a blast. All right, Nate, what do you think about Scary Movie? Do you like the movies before this? Does this make you excited looking at the trailer?
Honestly, I'm in, because I am always been big into the big spoof movies like Hot Shots and Airplane and all them. So this is like right up my alley. So I'm definitely all in, because I've seen the first 4. I didn't see the 5th one. So I might have to go back, watch the 5th one, and then go see the 6th one, but that's okay. But yeah, I'm in. I don't care about anybody crying about their pronouns, this, that, or whatever. Go have fun, enjoy, eat a bunch of popcorn, drink a lot of Dr. Pepper or whatever, and enjoy the movie.
Yeah, there's just so many things in the horror. Like you're not Wednesday, you're Tuesday. They got the
Tuesday. Yeah,
they got the who is it there? Cindy. They got Cindy as like the old Laurie Strode from the newer Halloweens.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. This looks so fun. I can't wait to check this out, and hopefully I'll get to do it with some good buddies in a few months.
Hope so.
Yeah. All right. So I'm super excited about that for sure. That movie coming out. All right. Well, that'll wrap up our movies part of our podcast. We're going to move over to sports and WWE. And coming up first, we had a big race yesterday, I believe it was, or was it the day before? Sunday.
Yeah.
So we had a race in the NASCAR Cup Series on Sunday, and everyone was like, all right, Tyler Reddick coming in, getting his 4th. Nope. Didn't happen that way. We had another we had another guy coming in and taking first. You want to talk a little bit about that there, Grim?
Yeah, it was at Phoenix. Ryan Blaney, excuse me. He was actually one of the top front runners to win the race. Did win. Christopher Bell, who was also one of the front runners to win, who also led 176 laps, finished in second, and Tyler Reddick finished in eighth. So, hey, a top 10 finish for a guy who's only won 3 races in a row. Not too bad. So yeah, and then rounding out the top 5, you had Kyle Larson in third, Ty Gibbs in fourth, and Denny Hamlin in fifth for Phoenix. And standings wise, it's a little bit closer now. Tyler Reddick, is still in first with 3 wins. Ryan Blaney has overtaken and gotten now into second. Bubba Wallace is in third. Chase Elliott hanging on to fourth, even though only 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s for Chase Elliott so far in 4 races. That's not exactly where I thought he would be. And then SVG hanging in fifth right now in the points, 2 top 5s and 2 top 10s.
So I got to ask you this: with Tyler Reddick winning the first 3 races, I know this is still early and everything, but where do you think his chances are going all the way through in this first 3 race win will help him get to the very end of the finish line, no pun intended? Or do you think these other guys are going to overtake him as time goes? What's your gut feeling?
With the playoff cutoff and everything like that, with a 16, for a driver format, you never know what can happen. It's a good start, and it gets you in because you have to be in the playoffs. It's an old adage: if you make the playoffs, anything can happen. And currently, right now, who's sitting in 16th? Brad Keselowski, right? He could, Ty Gibbs in 15 right now. Those 2 drivers, or anyone really for that matter, could go on a run, and then you could get knocked out in the first round, if you will, of the playoffs. So with that being said, Tyler Reddick right now, it's good to start strong now and get those 3 wins and kind of lead the pack a bit. But again, anything can happen. But Tyler's showing that again, a top 10 finish. In 4 races, he's finished no worse than 8th. So that's pretty good. I think he's got a really strong case. But again, anything can happen.
All right, Nate. What are your thoughts on the Cup Series right now? I guess you didn't get to catch the race back on Sunday.
Yeah, I missed the race Sunday, but just the thought of the points right now, it's just the downfall of Jimmy Johnson. It's kind of got me kind of a little chuckling because, I never liked Jimmy Johnson.
0 points.
Yeah. Yeah, he's on the downfall, but he's been such a multi-time champion that maybe it's time for him to step aside.
What do you think about that, Grem? Think Jimmy Double J should ride off into the sunset?
Yeah, I think ultimately, he's on a part-time gig right now, I believe. I'm not entirely sure because I don't think he was in Phoenix. I could be wrong on that, but I didn't see him in the results. So I think it was just a kind of a one-time deal, maybe to get into Daytona. You know how those champions are with Daytona. You always want to go to Daytona. It's always a fun track. And before I forget too, next Sunday coming up, it's gonna be Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So forgot to mention that while I was going through the standings.
Nice. Well, we'll definitely be talking about what happened. Or you said it was Sunday, right? Next Sunday?
Yeah.
Well, depending on when we record this, episode 3, we'll have some Las Vegas stuff to talk about on episode 3. By the way, I just also want to point out our good favorite driver of the Croakitoad community and 3-time champion Kyle Busch, currently in 20th right now with 81 points. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, stop bullying him. Thanks for wrong with you.
He's a 3-time champion. I need to stop bullying him and cramming him into the pits.
Don't bully Cryle.
All right, well, that's our NASCAR roundup. Before we get to the WWE, I hear there's a lot of commotion going on right now with the seeding for March Madness, college basketball. If Graham wants to quickly coat over that a little bit and let us know what that's kind of looking like.
Yeah. Right now, obviously, it's conference championship matchups. So a lot of seeding going around in terms of figuring out who's going to be in the March Madness NCAA tournament themselves. All of that will be ending on Sunday. So again, depending on the timing of our podcast, we'll kind of know who's in, who's out, who's who's going to be trying to play into the tournament too. So we'll probably cover all of that the next podcast.
Nice. So you can expect some March Madness. We'll have Raji back on. I know he's really kind of dives deep into that as well. Nate, you follow college basketball at all? You kind of following the March Madness at all?
Not really, because I'm not really much into basketball.
Okay.
I'm more like, sometimes I watch a little bit of college hockey, but that's about it. I'm more hockey than basketball.
Okie dokie. Well, we'll have more news on the basketball, and it's getting heated up. We're in March, baby. The madness has begun. Okay, we're gonna move. We're gonna move over to WWE news. We're just gonna kind of cover the Raw and SmackDown, and then we have a. Just wanted to hear the thoughts of the whole Danhausen thing. But on Monday Night Raw, March 2nd, we had Seth Rollins coming out. Of course, he was revealed as the masked man that they've been hyping up for a long time. He came out, stomped Paul Heyman into the mat. Ouch, ouchie times. Then we had our first match, Gunther defeating Dragon Lee. 1-on-1. We also had AJ Lee coming out, cutting a promo with her women's Intercontinental title. AJ Lee getting defeating Becky Lynch and now having a title around her waist. I know a lot of people are excited. We're excited to see AJ Lee get her flowers with that title belt there. And then we had a lucha match, original El Grande Americano defeating Rayo Americano, kind of midway through the show there. And then we had I didn't even realize this. Rusev. Okay. In a brawl. Okay. So I was saying, I think I was saying this off stream to some people. I was like, man, Rusev is like the most underutilized, underbooked, underappreciated wrestler in like the past 10 years. He's just been basically cannon fodder. But I'm glad to see that he's got something here with Oba. Little brawl in the ring there, maybe building up to something. We got Jimmy Uso defeating Austin Theory via DQ. And our main event of the evening was Penta defeating Dominic to become the Intercontinental Champion. And from what I was hearing, if I heard this correctly, he's only the second masked wrestler to ever win the Intercontinental title, and only the second superstar from Mexico, I believe, to win the Intercontinental. I may be getting that wrong, but obviously both are after Rey Mysterio being Intercontinental Champion. But Penta definitely makes history in the main event, winning the IC title. And of course, you had the showdown between Roman Reigns and CM Punk heading into WrestleMania, where they're going to have that title match as well. But I know there's a little backstory to the whole Penta and Dominic losing his IC title belt. I'll pass that over to Grem because I know he probably wants to talk about that. But that was your stuff for Raw. But here we go. It's time for some Danhausen news.
Yeah, obviously Dom got cursed by Danhausen, showing his demands to Adam Pearce. Sadly, those demands ended up in a toilet by mistake. Hopefully not near Raji. But other than that, Danhausen is kind of starting to blow up. That was his first ever appearance on WWE prior to the Elimination Chamber. And as we go down into SmackDown, he's gaining a lot of steam right now. A lot of fans are behind Danhausen.
Nice. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to Monday Night Raw, or Danhausen was basically the takeaway from it?
Real quick, I am enjoying the fact that a guy like Dragon Lee is getting a lot of attention. A lot of people thought that when AJ was retiring, because AJ had won the tag team belts with Dragon Lee, that AJ, was going to take his leave, and that Dragon Lee wasn't really going to get anywhere. And to have a match against Gunther is actually pretty massive for someone like Dragon Lee. This year might be his year in terms of like surprising a lot of people. I could see him, like, even right now, Dragon Lee versus Penta, sign me up for the IC title. So there's a guy right there you should be kind of watching.
Nice. All right, Nate, what are your thoughts? Anything you want to add to Monday Night Raw? Any of the storylines moving forwards or anything like that?
Definitely the last fight between Oba and Rusev, I'd be in for. Penta winning the Intercontinental title, he's like the third Mexican to win it, but second luchador, because everybody forgets about Tito Santana. Because he's from Tallulah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so
Maybe it
everybody
was the
keeps forgetting
second
Tito.
masked. Maybe it's the
Yeah.
second masked luchador is what I was reading.
Yeah, second masked luchador.
Okay, still really awesome. I'm glad Penta's finally. This is his first title in WWE, right?
It is, and he's been in there for over a year now, so good for him, really.
Yeah, that's cool. He's super over. Everyone loves Penta. The look of him is really cool. I'm sure he sells a lot of merch for WWE. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think he's like top 10 in merch.
Yeah,
But the number one man in merch, from what I saw, will also appear not only on Raw to cost a title change, but also come to SmackDown on March 6th. We'll get to that in just a moment. But our SmackDown results, we had Carmelo taking on Dr. Wagner Jr. in a U.S. title match. Then we had, let's see here, we had a promo featuring the ladies, women's tag team titles. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss defeated Julia and Kiana James in a match. Then we had a tag team turmoil match right in the smack in the middle of SmackDown. Fraxium and the Motor City Machine Guns. Fraxium would win, move on to take on Los Garza. Los Garza would win there, and then they would move on to take on the Wyatt Six, who would lose thanks to interference from the MFTs. And then Damian Priest and R-Truth teaming together in a very interesting team, defeating Los Garza to become number one contenders to the MFTs. That was smack dab in the middle of SmackDown. Then we had probably what I think is the most exciting part of the show, the big showdown between Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill, women's champion Jade Cargill, heading into WrestleMania. I love this match on paper. I love seeing these two names against each other. I think this is going to be money. I can't wait to see Rhea and Jade throw down. I think this is going to be awesome. So I'm super interested to see how they're going to do with that. And then we had another match, Oba defeating Johnny Gargano, before we head into our main event of SmackDown, which was Cody Rhodes defeating Drew McIntyre to reclaim the undisputed WWE title in our main event. But before we get into that, we also had another appearance from the aforementioned Danhausen, who had a little standoff with The Miz backstage. And I'll let Graham kind of elaborate on that and anything else he might want to add.
Yeah, so obviously Danhausen, kind of like Oba Femi too, by the way. None of these two are signed to a show, obviously, right now, because as you can tell, Oba is in both. But Danhausen was talking to GM Nick Aldis and was like, hey, you're going to get me a mentor. And he finds The Miz, and it was just a very funny segment that The Miz is definitely different from an A-lister like The Miz to be talking to someone like Danhausen, who's got the makeup and everything, very, very unique. So it was a very funny interaction. On top of that, SmackDown was stacked, man. I mean, Carmelo Hayes is finding his own. Trick Williams is coming into his own a little bit. I mean, heck, you're in the ring with Randy Orton. That's kind of crazy. The one thing, I mean, the tag team turmoil too was awesome. I love Los Garza and Fraxium. I love those teams. I'm glad that they got to kind of showcase a bit, especially Alberto, excuse me. Angel was good too. Don't get me wrong. But the one thing I kind of didn't like was Drew McIntyre dropping the title. This early. Like, I know it was, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton sounds awesome, but I really feel like a match like this could have been done, like the week after, not this Friday, like the next Friday. I feel like it would have been a lot more impactful. Kind of stew that up a little bit, have kind of Orton during that match kind of get into Cody's head a little bit, make it seem a bit more than it was just, oh yeah, we just have a title match for him. And there you go. And again, too, the other thing real quickly was the tag team turmoil. As much as I love seeing all those tag teams in contention, Damian Priest and R-Truth are like a kind of somewhat thrown together tag team. And for them to kind of win it all was kind of like, come on, guys. Like, you have so many other good tag teams. Like, but I get it, though. R-Truth is a legend. Don't get me wrong. I love R-Truth. And I like Damian Priest a lot. I just was like, come on, like, give it to one of these tag teams that are staying true to the tag team, But I understand where they're coming from with it. I get why they did it. But other than that, though, the show was pretty stacked. It was awesome.
All right, Nate, what do you think about SmackDown as we are on our road to WrestleMania?
Well, I actually watched most of it last week. So, I mean, like, what I liked was the showdown between Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. Because, since Bianca Belair is still injured due to a finger injury, the next best thing is put Mommy in there. Because I think she'd be a better fit right now. Because I know Jade's still a little stiff, but I think Rhea Ripley can probably handle that in the ring.
Just the fact that you have Rhea Ripley face to face with Jade in the middle of the ring and they're calling each other bitches, like that's just
that was a scene. That was a scene.
I love that.
My thoughts on the tag team turmoil was kind of, I think like the Motor City Machine Guns are kind of getting misused right now because they should have at least gotten the move on a little further. I mean, I didn't like the way they had it set up. I mean, their match with Fraxium was really good though. I'll give them credit to that. But they're I still think they're being misused, but that's my opinion. And as for the whole Cody and Drew thing, since they're setting Drew up for Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania, honestly, that would have been probably better for the title. But don't get me wrong. I mean, I like Randy Orton. I like Cody. They don't need the title.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my opinion.
And I also think another thing that might conflict with the whole Drew McIntyre being the champion thing right now is apparently from what Raji was saying, I guess he's starting to get set up for filming for the new Highlander movie too. So he may be taking some time off.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Drew McIntyre guy. I guess maybe that's a little bit of it too. When I said like, taking it off on Friday seemed kind of quick, but I mean, again, I understand it where they're coming from with it. I like Drew though.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we will be back next week to talk about the road to WrestleMania for WWE RAW and SmackDown. Danhausen, I mean, just to quickly end it off with the Danhausen thing again. We weren't too optimistic about his reaction and reception back at the Elimination Chamber when he came out with the dancers. The building there in Chicago did not know how to take him, and it didn't sound and look good for him, but he has definitely made it all that he can do here, showing in those backstage vignettes with Raw and SmackDown.
The fans are cheering like "You are cursed" or going with Danhausen, and it's just this first like complete week. It's crazy to think on just how he debuted and now where he's at right now. It's kind of wild.
And I heard a thing too where he's actually the #1 merch seller for WWE Shop right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like John Cena in a way. Like kids love. I mean, because sure, he looks scary, but at the same time, too, he's being very PG like. And I think, and heck, even when we were kids too, like stuff like that, like the Undertaker and Kane, right? We're like, oh my gosh, like drooling kind of deal. It's kind of the same thing in a way.
Yeah, that's one thing for sure. And I also kind of talked about this off podcast, but I love how WWE hasn't really touched it with his gimmick very much. They've let him be him, let him keep his character. They haven't tried to get that WWE script rub off of him and change him for what people know as him. And he works the best that way with the whole curse thing and just the way he talks, his performance, what he brings to the table, his aura. They haven't touched that. They've let him be Danhausen, be Danhausen, and it has definitely paid off so far. All right. Well, we're going to move. That's our sports part of our podcast. We're going to move on to This Week in Croakitoad. And really, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about for my streams throughout the week. It was really just Resident Evil Requiem. That was just me basically getting through Resident Evil Requiem. I held off from having this as Bring Your Own News at the start of the podcast because I just wanted to have just this segment here to talk about my thoughts. And now that I've beaten the game, unfortunately, I still haven't had the game delivered to me for the Xbox Series X version. I'm still waiting on Walmart to send it to me before December 31st, 2026, where I can play it. But the Steam version, we got through it. We got our first playthrough done on Standard Classic, which is basically like the hard difficulty you can choose from the beginning, where you have to utilize ink ribbons and try to hunt down ink ribbons rather than just saving anywhere, anytime. But I gave a rating of this game after I defeated it an 8.5 out of 10, and one of my top 5 Resident Evil games out of the entire franchise. Anyone who knows me knows that Resident Evil is my favorite franchise of all time. The OG on the PS1 is my favorite video game of all time, and I think Requiem holds up there. I'm seeing everywhere where it's breaking all sorts of sales records for not only just the Resident Evil series, but just the video gaming world in itself right now. I think it's a top contender for Game of the Year at the Game Awards. I think they did a wonderful job. All the callbacks, the throwbacks to the original 4 games, even some references to 5, 6, and Village are in there as well. They just had a bunch of Easter eggs, throwbacks, callbacks. You go back to Raccoon City, you get to explore the RPD after the bomb. There's just so much to unpack with Requiem, and if I had any kind of, I don't know, complaint against the game, it would be that some of the Grace Ashcroft parts kind of drag on just a little bit too much, and they don't give you, I mean, you get this little pea shooter to defend yourself through most of it. And I get it, you're supposed to just run and be scared and not try to confront the enemies, and it's supposed to give that survival horror aspect to it. But I think giving you like maybe a shotgun or something at some point, or maybe just lessening the time where you're running around as Grace Ashcroft would have been better. But what do I know? There's an achievement for beating the entire game in under 4 hours. So maybe that's just the firsthand experience of not knowing where to go and just letting it all soak in. And maybe the second or other playthroughs, I'll be much faster and not think that way. But definitely 8.5 out of 10 for me for Resident Evil Requiem. That's basically what I spent my whole week, which was barely a week since my last stream was Wednesday, doing. And so, yeah, if anyone's still out there on the fence for Resident Evil Requiem, it's completely taken Twitch by storm. Almost everybody's been playing it or was playing it. And definitely one of the top games of the year for 2026, in my opinion. I can't see them doing a list of nominees and not having Resident Evil Requiem in that list. But before we move on to the next segment, I also wanted to just make a mention that on last Wednesday was the 5-year anniversary of Croakitoad as well, for me creating the account on Twitch. So we had just a little bit of a multiplayer night and trying out some Steam Next Fest demos, and had some really wonderful game developers come in, drop into the Twitch chat and check us out playing their games and everything. So just wanted to also say that, yay, happy birthday, Croakitoad, 5 years. We did it. And we made partner just before that, just a few weeks before that. So that's really awesome. And yeah, 5 years of Croakitoad, man. I can't believe it's been 5 years, but here we are. All right, but that was the week in Croakitoad, what I was doing. Again, a really short week. I only streamed up to Wednesday because then I had to take off for work. But amidst that week of streaming, we will get into our CPW Croakitoad Pro Wrestling wrap-up here for last week. At the time of this podcast tonight, we're doing this on a Tuesday due to, tornadic activity here and Raji feeling under the weather. So we're doing this normally when a CPW show would be happening, but there will not be a CPW tonight. Instead, on episode 3 of Toad Talk, we'll be talking about just the editing process of 2K26 now the new game is out. But last week's show for CPW featured Crow taking on AJ Jacobs and defeating him in the opening contest. This is a match in regards to the Young Lions title division. Obviously, Disco Bunny, the new champion, and defeating Puppy and Crow, obviously a partner to Disco Bunny at this point in time, more like a manager, I suppose, but they've definitely struck a friendship. AJ Jacobs, obviously the official partner of Puppy. So we got to see the managers of the title match on the PLE, if you will, go toe-to-toe, and Crow picks up the win there after a distraction from Disco Bunny, by the way, from the entranceway that cost AJ Jacobs the match. Match 2 saw Vampy defeat Pocket for the Kappa title. Pocket had won the Kappa title from Necro 2 weeks before this. She successfully retained the week before. And then Vampy, part of Asterial's Blood Triangle, comes out and wins the Kappa title, winning her first title belt in CPW since she has arrived. Makes you wonder if Pocket's going to try to come back and get that title back, or what is the future for the Kappa title now that Vampy holds it. Asterial and Vampy, both title holders, now waiting for the third member of the Witches Brew, if you will, to get a belt, and that is Jen Von Lee. Match number 3 saw Buttons take on Jimmy Zaz, and Jimmy Zaz was kind of juggling, where's Jimmy Zaz this week, hiding in the RPD from Resident Evil Requiem. and managing to come back into the arena, have a match, and then go straight back to RPD again. So the magical wonders of Jimmy Zaz right there in play. But Buttons picks up the win over Jimmy Zaz. Buttons is the current reigning Twitch.tv television champion. Jimmy Zaz, a 2-time champion, I believe. And this was definitely a TV title matchup in that ranking. Obviously, Hype, the former champion, and he comes out after the match, goes nose to nose with Buttons. Buttons raises the TV title up above her head. There's been a lot of questionable things about how Buttons won the title when she won it in a tag team match when Hype was the champion. It was Hype and Shock taking on Feats and Buttons. And Buttons then ended up getting the winning pinfall to become the new champion. So Hype questioning the booking on that, but it is what it is. And I guess he's targeting Buttons now, the new champion. It makes you wonder where Feats is thinking in all this, because he was the original one that wanted the belt away from Hype, but it was Buttons that yoinked it away before he could get it back. So very interesting predicament we have there when it comes to the TV title division. Match number 4 saw Psycho T, our new world heavyweight champion, defeat Spinny. We had heard from Cassie Ryan in a Tadlib earlier in the show calling out Psycho T, saying if you have the cojones, come out here and put your title belt on the line, because it was a complete unexpected match that I had to put my title belt on the line in a giant elimination chamber against 5 challengers, and then you just came out here and just won it and sniped it from me. And so he called out Psycho T. Psycho T was on his way out to the ring to answer that promo, and we were waiting for Cassie Ryan to come out, and we were going to have a world heavyweight title rematch, but instead Spinny came waltzing out instead. And she is obviously the Royal Rumble winner, the Croakitoad winner for 2026, and they have that. She has that ticket to the main event of the big one. So we kind of got a big one match for free on Twitch television, if you will. But makes you really wonder: did Cassie Ryan do this? It was all part of his plan. Did he just sit back and let Spinny come out here, and then he sat back with a bag of popcorn? What's going on there? But definitely words were exchanged between the world champion Psycho T and Cassie Ryan, and we all know Cassie Ryan loves playing those mind games and running that mouth. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit that he had this all set up from the get-go. But regardless of all that, world champion Psycho T defeating Spinny in this non-title matchup, proving that he is not a fluke as the world heavyweight champion. Our next match was a 6-person tag team match. We had Alessandra, Shadow Chrono, and Mike Metal defeating Chain, Miss Perfection, and Marty the Moth Casaus. And this one had international title implications in it. Obviously, Shadow Chrono is the current reigning international champion, Chain, the former champion. So they kind of have that little rivalry going on still after they have exchanged the titles back and forth a few times. And overall, it was just good to see Martin Casaus back in the ring. We got to see Mike Metal come back in. We saw Alessandra, who is kind of proving her own as well. So great little mid-event 6-man tag match there. After that, we had Grem defeating Thaddeus, and this is one that I feel is starting to get a little bit personal, as in the aforementioned World Heavyweight Title Elimination Chamber match that took place back in Entanglement, the February PLE. We saw Thaddeus eliminate Asterial first out of everybody, and everyone going into this match was like, oh man, we're going to get Asterial 2 belts. Asterial will be the first person ever in history to become world champion and women's champion at the same time. Thaddeus, the boss of the company, says, I don't think so. Eliminates her, sends her packing, and you could hear the groans from the arena when that happened. But Grem took exception to that, being the husband, of course, and quickly eliminating Thaddeus from his own plans in the match and sending him out as well right after that elimination. And so I think this one's getting a little heated here, as Thaddeus probably thinks Grem cost him his shot at becoming a world heavyweight champion for the first time in God knows how long. I can't remember the last time Thaddeus had a world title around his waist. But then coming up after that, we had Rogue defeating the Doll. And the news coming into this match was that the Doll was just completely unstoppable. Is that like Goldberg in the Doll outfit? Like the Doll doesn't sell, the Doll doesn't lose, this or that. And so Rogue comes out here and said, hold my companion cube, and just comes out here and just steamrolls over the Doll in one-on-one singles action, which was kind of shocking. But hey, I would love to see Rogue's win-loss record when we get those up. I would love to see what his singles record is, because he's probably at the very top of the heap. Rogue is definitely a hard person to beat when it comes to singles action, and he proved it here by taking down the Doll in one-on-one action, which is also a culmination of the feud between the whole veterans of yesteryear with Nathan Moore, John Chaos, Rogue, and Leo Reigns, and then Tad and his, by extension, the Dead Zone with his cursed dolls like Celestia, Maggie Moore, and all of that, which we'll get into a little bit later. Coming up after that, we had Diamond defeating Julie Chalk and Jen Von Lee in a #1 contendership for the women's title match, which currently held by Asterial. And this was a really great match, 4-way match, weapons all over the place, and just very brutal, very violent. And a lot of people had their own favorites going into this thing. Diamond was definitely the underdog going in, but she ends up winning, which was a huge shocker to just about everybody watching this. I think everyone had pretty much pinned down that it was probably going to be Julie Chalk or Jen Von Lee coming out the winner on this. And especially if it was Jen Von Lee, that would have made for some really interesting storytelling, considering her fellow witch is the current reigning women's champion in Asterial. But Diamond picks up the win and proving all the doubters wrong, coming out as the underdog and getting the win over the other 3 ladies, setting up, I suppose at this point, a potential Diamond versus Asterial women's title match here in CPW. But our semi-main event was Leo Reigns defeating Maggie Moore, which was an extension of the whole veterans of yesteryear versus Tad Peters' Dead Zone storyline and feud going on right now. Leo Reigns coming out and taking care of business against Maggie Moore. We had the Nathan Moore theme song come out. He comes out, distracts his wife, allowing for Leo Reigns to deck her in the back of the head and getting the pin there. And so the boys from yesteryear came out here and basically steamrolled through the entire Tad Peters doll collection after a very not very impressive match at the pay-per-view a few weeks before that. Come back here on the March 3rd episode of Tuesday Night Toxic and just completely steamroll through them. I guess the loss on the pay-per-view motivated them to come back and really put a hammer down, and that's definitely what they did. And of course, we'll end off with our main event of the evening. It was Bacon Laura making her big in-ring return. We haven't seen her in years, to take on Rock Hard Meat in a match that kind of has World Tag Team title implications in it. The 2 managers of their own teams basically at the top of the heap for the tag team titles. Of course, we saw North Greenfield and Kadaj Valentine try to take on the Titans for the tag belts, and the 2 giant behemoths could not be moved, and definitely two of the most impressive people in CPW history. And I would argue to say that they are the most dominant tag team in CPW history so far. The Titans, just definitely unmovable. And with Bacon Laura now kind of guiding them as a manager, and then coming out here and defeating Rock Hard Meat, significantly larger and meatier superstar, that just goes to show the power that they have that is beyond just visually looking at them when it comes to Bacon Laura and specificity. But also we had I also want to point out, we also had Miles Wildmore and Azarain wreaking havoc backstage together as a unit. The last time we'd seen them, that they were having a conversation on top of an ambulance a few weeks before, and we were like, what is going on here between these two? And apparently they come out in the parking lot area and just completely bean boozle, if you will, and completely annihilate Morzel and Mr. Cantot on their way inside the building. So what's going on there with Azarain and Miles Wildmore? Have we found a very stricken friendship between 2 crazy maniacal people, a maniacal, crazy, psychotic clown teaming up with the man where his madness has completely taken over his entire thought process? That'll be interesting to see moving forwards what that relationship's like. But we have quite a few stories, as you just heard from me. We've got quite a few stories moving into the big one, much like WWE. We don't have a special event for March. We're skipping right past that, going straight into April. We also need to figure out who's going to be in that Money in the Bank ladder match as well, another spot that will be filled. But as far as we know right now, for sure, we know Spinny is getting a world title shot in the main event of the big one. But outside of that, we definitely have feuds and stories leading up to the big one. But we still have a lot of time left. So, Graham, I'm going to pass it over to you. Did anything stand out in your mind for last week's show, or maybe anything in general leading up to the big one right now as it stands in CPW moving forwards?
Well, on a personal note, it was good seeing Jimmy Zaz back, if nothing else, in the ring. We see him every week, but Vampy winning the Kappa title, her first title, that was amazing to see. Good for her. Rogue and Leo Reigns picking up wins was pretty big after what had happened at the pay-per-view before, where you were hoping for that team to beat Tad Peters team, but it didn't happen. Other than that, it was a great show, top to bottom. You talked about, Cassidy Ryan and potentially playing the mind games with Psycho T and Spinny, and and Bacon Laura too, making her debut in ring debut again, or re-debut, I guess. We haven't seen her in a bit. Taking on someone like Rock Hard Meat was that's no easy task, but Bacon Laura almost. I'm not going to say it made it look easy, but she's definitely back with a vengeance.
I do have some two things in my back pocket here, but I'm going to go ahead and open the field up to Nate if he has anything he wants to add and mention.
Mostly, like a lot of the good blood feuds are starting to really kick in for the big one, which is going to make for one hell of a season finale, as you might say. Because, I mean, you got a lot of wars. You got Thaddeus and Grem. You got Tad Peters in the Dollhouse versus, FAFO and Leo and Chaos. But, like, also, you got Mr. Coke and Spike Ryan, their never-ending feud. And then probably the wild card is you got Cassidy Ryan. Because he could basically go on a tear leading into the big one. And you never know what he's going to do since he still probably expects to get his rematch.
Right. Yeah. That whole main event situation right now is in complete disarray when it comes to, Psycho T coming out of nowhere, becoming the new world champion, Cassidy Ryan being the former champion, and just having all these complaints about, I wasn't even ready. I didn't know my title was going to be on the line in this Elimination Chamber match until a few minutes before I had to go out. And then you have Spinny, who has she's got the reservation to meet the champion, whoever it may be, at the big one. So we've got definitely quite the conundrum going on there. But I also wanted to mention two more things that we kind of skipped over. First of all, there was also another promo segment taking place, a Tad Lib, if you will, where Tad Peters was about to come out and just completely probably go into business for himself and completely annihilate the team of Nathan Moore, John Chaos, Leo Reigns, and Rogue after the performance at the pay-per-view. But before you could even really get a few words out, here comes John Chaos to shut him up and send him packing. So not only doing business in the ring for the OGs, I guess you could say, but also outside of the ring, not even letting Tad really get warmed up on the mic. It was John Chaos taking care of business there. But also, speaking of trash talkers, we had quite the trash talk segment of the night, not featured in the ring, but more of a promo segment, which is what this guy is mostly known for. Of course, we saw the ambulance match between Mr. Coke and Spike Ryan the week previous to this at Entanglement, where Mr. Coke actually won, cramming Spike Ryan into the ambulance, sending him packing. And we've got a whole, almost like a vlog commentary ride through of almost like the moments after the match, during the match, and after the match, and with like screenshots and pictures of Mr. Coke just completely tantalizing and antagonizing Spike Ryan because obviously he wasn't there, and Mr. Coke completely uncontested to just go out there and say whatever he wants, and probably just really putting the salt to the wound when it comes to Spike Ryan and making everyone wonder, what is he going to do to Mr. Coke when he gets back and recovers from wherever he is at in the hospital. And well, I'm just hearing right now that we might have a special guest here popping in out of nowhere to maybe answer that question. So I'm not going to say his name because he might appear, but I'll just leave the question out and we'll see who answers. So now that you've done what you've did and said what you said on last Tuesday's show, and there was no Spike Ryan to come out, what is next for Mr. Coke against Spike Ryan? What can you give us any insight on any kind of plans or what your motivation or anything else that you have moving forward? Are you done with Spike Ryan at this point, or do you have more in the bank or more in the vending machine for him?
Oh, have I got more for old Spiky boy? I mean, I've got not just a vending machine. I've got like an entire warehouse of vending machines ready. Whip open a can of whoop ass on them.
Well, I think
Spiky boy, you better watch out.
I think the biggest
dude, you better watch out.
I think the biggest question people have for the future of Coke and Spike Ryan when Spike Ryan comes back and gets his revenge, I'm sure you would say he won't, but he will try to get his revenge against you. Is this kind of like leading up to the big one? Are you holding off to have this big penultimate match against Spike Ryan at the big one? Is that what this is leading to?
Yeah, yeah. The biggest one of them all. So, he's going to have to, put up or shut up. But, he's not going to put up and he's not going to shut up. So, after that, we'll just take it from, whatever happens. But yeah, I've got some things that I'm ready to deploy if old Spiky Boy doesn't behave.
All
And
right.
I don't think you want me to reveal them quite yet, but
Oh, no.
it will.
I mean, I would like
Old
to.
Spiky won't see where it's coming from. That's all I'm going to say.
I would like people to tune in to get some exclusive, juicy details. So it'll obviously boost up our numbers in listeners for the podcast. But at the same time, I know there's a time and place for everything, and there's still a lot more weeks left leading to the big one. And you probably don't want to spill everything out right now, as probably hard as it is for you to just reveal it all. You got to kind of space it out leading up to the big match.
Yeah, you don't want to shake my can up.
Oh yeah, because you'll be fizzing
No,
all over the place.
I will be revealing more. Don't you worry.
All right. Well, keep your eyes peeled for next Tuesday's CPW, as it won't be happening tonight due to edits, but it makes you wonder what Mr. Coke has in store for Spike Ryan leading up to their big rivalry at the big one. All right. Well, that'll conclude our CPW wrap up for last week. Appreciate you.
You don't want to do match of the night?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. All right. Well, I already know what my match of the week is for CPW. It may be a very surprising answer that I'm going to give to you all, but honestly, putting aside the surprising winner off to the side, I'm going to actually go ahead and go with the 4-way women's match. Honestly, I know everyone was kind of pulling for Chalk or Julie or Jen Von Lee to win this thing because Diamond was kind of the one that stuck out as being the underdog. But I think the match itself was great. It was very violent. It totally displayed what the women can do in CPW. They can be just as brutal, just as violent as the men on the roster. They were taking each other to the absolute limit. They know what was on the line. A shot against Asterial, who is, by the way, the longest reigning champion right now in CPW across the board in all champions. I believe she's had her title belt since last August. Nobody really comes close other than, I believe, the tag team champions. So they know that she's got a firm grip on that title. They were taking each other to the limit, and I think that for sure was match of the night. Plus, you also got the meme video moment of the stop sign cracking Diamond in the head. You can't go wrong with that. What do you think, Grem, was your match of the night?
I might steal the thunder for Nate, and hopefully I don't. But Leo Reigns versus Maggie Moore was a very awesome match. It was great to see Leo Reigns win, come back and show how strong he really is. I love that match. I was very, very happy that Leo won. We got to see a certain Nathan Moore show up as well. The match was really, really good. And before anything too, I do want to mention too, like you had alluded earlier, tonight you'll be doing a creating editing show. If any of you are listening and want to check it out, twitch.tv/Croakitoad, definitely stop on in. With the new season coming up, we're going to have some spots open. So if you want to jump in on this, now is a great time to get started early, get your call in. We'd love to have more people around. It's a very relaxed, fun show. So please check us out there.
All right, Nate, it's your turn. What did you feel was match of the, I guess we could say match of the week for Croakitoad Pro Wrestling on last Tuesday's show?
Well, I'm going a completely different route. I'm picking Vampy over Pocket because it's nice to see the Kappa title. I mean, yes, it's defended every week, but it's always nice to see somebody new always win the belt. Because I believe sometimes it's nice to inject new blood into the thing, you know? So I think Vampy winning was actually pretty cool. I thought that was the match of the night for me.
Yeah, and it's also really cool to see Vampy kind of get her flowers, knowing that what she's going through in her real life, outside of the character, outside of the E-Fed and stuff, going through numerous medical procedures with her kidney stones, trying to get those removed and everything. So it's really nice to see her get kind of a recognition through the E-Fed and actually win our first title belt since arriving on the scene. So I like that. And plus, it kind of goes into effect with the Kappa title. You never know who's going to win. It could be literally anybody.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that'll wrap up the CPW portion of our show. We're going to move over to our last segment of the podcast, and that is the community. We're going to talk a little bit about the community. I'm sure you can probably hear some dinging in the background. My bad. I guess that's probably Mr. Coke ringing in saying he wants to trash more talk to Spike Ryan. But look, man, we gave you your time to talk. We're trying to cut this podcast down to a reasonable time for the listeners out there. But here we go. We've got the Croakitoad Gaming stream team. As you all know, I became a Twitch partner a few weeks ago. And literally the first thing I did was create a Twitch team. And that was what I told everyone I wanted to do, to kind of give back and spread some light and give back to the members of the Croakitoad stream team and fellow streamers out there who helped me get to where I am. And it's my job now to give back and try to promote and give back to everyone who helped me get to where I am. So I always wanted to kind of end off the podcast with like a little bit of a shout out to those members of the Croakitoad stream team and streamers out there currently going on that grind and trying to work their way up to whatever accomplishments they may be trying to go with. And so I'll give it kind of a brief shout out of what people have been doing throughout the week here and kind of browse over this team here. But as we record this podcast, we do have Queen Savi, one of the newest members of the stream team, currently going through a Resident Evil Requiem playthrough, first time playthrough, day one, as of March 10th. As I said before, Resident Evil Requiem completely taking over Twitch right now. If people have not played it yet, they are playing it soon, and they probably have already beaten it. So there you go, Queen Savi, who has been doing a lot of Resident Evil lately and doing Resident Evil 2 Remake as well, looking at also maybe challenging and doing some speed runs in the Resident Evil series. As well as Roxas997, our good buddy Roxas. He's in the middle of some SpongeBob gameplay right now. Notice he's been playing the SpongeBob movie game over on his channel, so check that out. We didn't get a stream from NASA Powerlifting over the weekend, but hopefully we'll get one soon. We may even get one this weekend. So keep your eyes peeled over there for the NASA channel. We had Endo Girl 1982 doing some WWE 2K26 on her stream, kind of playing that new one as well as here at Croakitoad, doing that WWE thing. We also had Lucinda coming in and playing some Resident Evil Requiem. She's now on her second playthrough, I believe. Maybe even going for some trophies, just kind of unlock some of those CP unlockables you can get, like infinite ammo, stuff like that. Definitely check out Lucinda. She was our first ever Croakitoad streamer of the week, revealed on the pilot episode of our podcast. We also have R.E. Kitten, also in the middle of Resident Evil Requiem. Might have actually beaten it by now. And just also on that, as the name implies, on that Resident Evil grind. So check out R.E. Kitten 137 with the delicious booties running rampant over there. We also had Lady Lavin stepping in to do a few streams. Good to see Lady Lavin dust off the cobwebs and get that streaming going again as part of the stream team. Feats Beats Games, always doing that Dino Crisis speed running, trying to get that PB, trying to move up those speed run boards ever so I guess I should say inch by inch. So check out Feats Beats Games if you like speed runs, if you like Dino Crisis 1 and 2, check him out. Also lots of custom Tomb Raider levels as well over on his channel, streaming throughout the week. We had Puerto Rican Chipmunk also live doing some peak. She loves her peak. Probably see her doing her daily peak grind, trying to get up that mountain, go for some achievements, going for the, what was the Antlion badge, I think yesterday she was trying to go for there. So check out Puerto Rican Chipmunk. Just browsing through here. We had Jen Von Lee as well, doing a little bit of multiplayer throughout the week. She's also wrapped up her Resident Evil Requiem playthrough. But you can always expect to see Jen doing some Peak or Phasmo, stuff like that as well. And she was doing a bit of that this week as well. Monica Denizen, who had a really spectacular week. Not to give anything away in our last segment or anything, but also doing her Resident Evil Requiem playthrough alongside a special voice on her stream, none other than Zeno himself, Craig Bernatowski, through her Resident Evil Requiem playthrough on her stream. And I think she finally got through it and finished it as well. But that was a pretty good week for Monica, I would say, after kind of being on hiatus for a bit. We also had, let's see, who else? We had Agatha. Actually, I rated Agatha last night And I believe Agatha was also playing Resident Evil Requiem, also on that Resident Evil Requiem grind. So check out Agatha for sure for more Resident Evil. Lots of people playing Resident Evil here in the Croakitoad stream team. I love to see it. Well, Disco Bunny as well, also completing her Resident Evil Requiem playthrough and now currently on Cyberpunk. So if you person that likes that Cyberpunk stuff, go check out Disco Bunny. I still need to play that one, by the way. But yeah, that's kind of a brief synopsis of some random members of the Croakitoad stream team, just to give out some promotion and hype. You can find all these people on Twitch, or you can go to the twitch.tv/team/Croakitoad Gaming to check out our Twitch gaming group as I, give some flowers out to a bunch of people throughout the community. But that'll leave us to our last segment of the podcast, and that is, in fact, the reveal for our second ever Croakitoad Gaming Streamer of the Week. And it is going to go to, I might have spoiled it earlier, but it's going to go to Monica Denizen, who had a little bit of a brief, hold on, let me do the hands clapping SFX here. All right, as you can hear from all the clapping, Monica Denizen, our second ever Streamer of the Week for Croakitoad, who had a little bit of a hiatus from streaming for a bit, but came back going 150 miles per hour, jumping into that Resident Evil Requiem. She had Craig Bernatowski, voice actor of Xeno, in the game himself, on call with her. Also the voice actor of Albert Wesker from the Resident Evil 4 remake in there alongside her to answer questions and check out chat. She didn't really want to risk any spoilers, so she had him reading off chat for her, but she managed to get through the game. And there was a really funny moment as part of her stream that we're also going to reveal, as well as the clip of the week from the Croakitoad stream team coming from Monica Denizen as well. So we'll play that, and then we'll end it all off with any final thoughts from our round table here on episode 2 of Toad Talk. Let's check out this clip of Monica Denizen playing Resident Evil Requiem with a familiar voice in the game and on her call.
Spencer defied us and paid the price with his life. He was nothing.
You are nothing but an imitation.
It's over, Victor. The Connections is done with you.
Oh, man! Oh! We can't let him have it. Oh my God! He got him killed! Oh! They cut off his head. They just gave me a little belly wound. Oh no! Did I get everyone murdered?
It's staggering.
Oh, I got a baby hand. It's a little baby hand. Oh, it's working. I saved Leon though. Leon, it's working. Wake up. Should I immediately message Greg and apologize to him?
No.
Well, that was super spoilers. I guess I should have said that before I played the clip for anyone watching. Has not played the game yet, but we're just going to go ahead and assume. I mean, Craig himself posted on his social media that he was in the game and is a voice of the game. So, you know what? I'm sorry if that ruined it for you, but it is what it is. That's the clip of the week for Monica. And actually, I thought that she was on call with Craig, but I guess for this part of the game, which is the very end of the game, she was actually on call with fellow streamer Jen Von Lee. So I stand corrected on that. But in the streams leading up to this, she certainly had Craig on call with her, which is really cool. I mean, how many times can you think, oh, I'm on a voice call while playing a game with a person that was their voice is all over this game? I mean, that's a pretty sweet moment, pretty cool moment. And Monica making her big return to streaming. Also plays lots of Resident Evil outside of Requiem, lots of Lethal Company, Repo, and Phasmophobia as well. And one of the biggest Alan Wake fans I know out there, period. So definitely check out Monica Denizen, and super happy that she was able to get through the game Resident Evil Requiem and check it out. And I'm sure Craig was probably withholding a lot of spoilers from her as well, leading up to the playthrough. But that is your streamer of the week, second ever for Croakitoad Gaming, Monica Denizen. Check her out. And that is your clip of the week with massive Resident Evil Requiem spoilers. Oopsie. for those that haven't seen it yet. But I'm pretty much assuming with the age of social media, everyone's gotten spoiled at this point by the game. But yep, I guess that'll do it. Did Zazarus or Nate, Grem or Nate, want to add anything to this episode of the podcast before we take it away?
I just want to say again, thank you for everyone with their continued support, whether you're listening or watching. Thank you guys so much. This has always been a blast to be doing these kind of things, and we'll hopefully kind of keep it going. Sorry for the lateness on this one, but thank you everyone, and everyone again, just stay radical.
And Nate, anything to offer now that you have a big toilet to fill in that of Raji, who couldn't be with us this week?
Yeah, trust me, that's a big toilet to fill, and hopefully Raji gets better soon. But also, I'd have to say that if anybody's going to cry about spoilers, guess what? The game's been out long enough that if you don't know what happens by now, then that's your fault. But other than that, I mean, there's even a lot of more games coming out for the summer that it's going to be a very fun summer for multiplayer. So keep your eyes out on that.
Yes, and we will for sure be covering any new games that appeals to any of us. But again, I just want to reiterate, anyone listening, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts right now, if you have anything that you would like for us to cover, take a look at, review, or preview in terms of new games coming out, movies, trailers, anything sports-wise you'd like for us to cover, please definitely hit us up. Let us know. You can check out our Discord server, or you can post comments in the YouTube. And also, as well, please like, subscribe, and follow if you'd like to be reminded of future episodes of this podcast. This is only our second one, but we're having a lot of fun with it so far. And I'm glad we got through this one. There was a little bit of a hiccup in recording this the other day, but we got her done, and I already can't wait for episode 3. I love to talk about new games coming out, new movies. That's kind of my deal. And then we have the sports, and then the WWE talk, and of course everyone loves the Croakitoad community Twitch stream stuff. So I'm really happy with this so far, and hopefully we cut this length of this one down considerably. Consider the in comparison to the pilot episode. And if you have any recommendations, advice, or suggestions, or anything like that as well, please let us know. If you know ways that could make this podcast better, we're all ears. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in and listening to episode 2 of Toad Talk. Appreciate you. Thank you, Nate, for stepping in for Raji. We'll definitely have you back for sure. And thank you, Grem, as well, for being the co-host of Toad Talk.
Yep, not a problem.
Well, all right. We will see you next weekend with more Toad Talk. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and have a good one. Bye.